Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Waves Weekly. This is a series I post every Sunday where we cover recent news and current events that I believe relate to the markets. We'll take a look at a few charts, go over a few articles, and I'll also let you guys know what stocks I'm looking forward to and keeping an eye on going into this trading week. Alright, so as always, we'll go over each topic that we're going to be discussing and then we'll dive into each one individually. As you can see in front of us, SPX open on TradingView, pretty much the homepage at this point, but we're actually not going to spend too much time focusing on the SPX or the general equity markets, because I did just post that video yesterday where I went pretty in depth on all of this. So we will skip on that. As far as charts are concerned, at least we're going to be focusing more on, again, the stocks that I'm looking forward to going into this week, which I'm sure by no surprise to you guys is going to be the COVID-related biotech sector, good old Inovio, Novavax, Moderna. Kind of just recapping honestly on Friday's episode of the Trading Week recap and just kind of expanding on that, just giving you guys an update if anything changed, which not really, but again, just want to keep you guys posted on this. Stay with you over the course of this week because I do see an exciting week ahead of us in regard to those stocks. We'll also touch on, okay, so these are the news articles. We got to look at COVID cases just because it's so relevant to those stocks, to the COVID-related biotechs, obviously. So we're not going to spend too much time on this at all, you guys. I don't want to just saturate kind of this FUD and these negative vibes. Although they're everywhere, it's pretty much common knowledge at this point. So that's why we'll just touch on this really quick, just get the point across, and then we'll touch on the stocks. But I do actually want to spend a lot of time today on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency sector. So if you guys want to tune out after I talk about the first part, if you're not interested in this, that's perfectly fine. I understand. But I am personally very bullish on this sector right now. And yeah, no, I think there's a lot to talk about in regard to Bitcoin, cryptocurrency as a whole. Even Riot we'll touch on a little bit. But I'm super excited about this right now. So we will touch on Bitcoin chart. We'll look at Riot chart. And then we'll take a look at a few articles in regard to Bitcoin that I think are very bullish and just kind of back my general thesis and opinion on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space right now. Okay, so Forbes article. We got another just Bitcoin article on what is this, Cointelegraph. So we'll look over those real quick. Again, we'll take a look at the Bitcoin charts. And then we got the good old content of the week. This is just a YouTube channel. I have recommended this before, but it's going to be a specific part of this YouTube channel. So stick around if you want to see that. I find a lot of value personally. Me and my lady, to be honest, find a lot of value in this personally. So yeah, just stick around if you want to know what that is. All right, so again, SPX open right here. I feel like a more appropriate place to kick it off will be with the COVID cases, and then after this, we'll just dive straight into Inovio, Novavax, and whatnot. Okay, so as you can see here, this is just this is a chart of the cases right here. We love charts over here. You know that. We're traders, investors. We look at charts all day. So it's nice to see something. Obviously, what this represents is not nice, but I mean, we're comfortable looking at charts, right? Okay, so in front of us, you have a daily chart of the COVID cases, and this is in the United States, of course. But unfortunately, we are reaching new all-time highs. You can see just on June 26th, just below 45,000. The next day, like 1,000 lower than that, but it's definitely at all-time highs, you guys. And when I look at this chart, what I think of is the two-wave theory that we've talked about so much on this channel so far. Okay, so in all the bubbles we played, like Moderna, when all those biotechs initially took off, like Moderna specifically, I'm thinking of. Remember, you guys, you see the first wave. Whenever something, when hype gets involved, when something goes parabolic, when something is in extremes, a lot of times there's two phases, okay? So two waves. You see the initial spike, all right? And then things dull down. It capitulates. It goes sideways for a while. But almost every time when you see a sudden move up, you will see it capitulate. It kind of maybe crash back down a little bit. This didn't really crash, but it did go sideways. But it's very rare that you don't not see a second wave, okay? So we are seeing this second wave right now. I know a lot of people want to argue that this is still the first wave, which it kind of is, but you guys get the point. A second spike, a second significant wave, and it's not going sideways anymore. We are going up, okay? So this is devastating. I don't know if, obviously, as these states are opening back up, we'll just take a look at these real quick. So total in the U.S. Confirmed cases, 2.6 million, 130K deaths. Worldwide right here, we have 10 million confirmed cases. That is a big even. That sucks. 5 million recovered, 500,000 deaths. Okay, so it's still like death to confirmed cases is, I mean, that's pretty staggering. So this is obviously, anyone who doesn't think that this disease is real I mean, I'm not going to try to convince you of anything, but you guys, this is obviously real. I don't know if the lockdown and the hype, you can debate whether that was overextended or not, because again, we're just experiencing the same exact thing now as we're trying to reopen. But this is very real. It is causing very real problems, and this is why I'm bullish on stocks like Inovio, Novavax, Moderna that are providing a tangible solution, and they are the save the world stocks as we've been calling them. Okay, so again, I don't want to touch on these, but I just want to read you guys literally the headlines, which is never encouraged just headline reading, but again, this is just common knowledge at this point. I just want you guys to know the gist of what's going on, which I'm sure you already do. But boom, Reuters, 6 hours ago, California orders some bars to close as U.S. posts record COVID cases. Again, Texas, Florida, the states that were leading the reopening, the second phase, or the next phases of reopening bars and stuff, taking a step back, pulling back, because the numbers are staggering in terms of COVID cases. Okay, so NBC, CDC says COVID-19 cases in the U.S. may be 10 times higher than reported. So I was kind of mentioning this before too. Like, you see the numbers, you see these numbers spiking, right? But this, especially back here, this is I've always hated these numbers because it's such a lagging indicator. Like, it does give obviously a general idea of if cases are spiking, going stagnant, or lowering, but it's unrealistic. Like, there could very well be way more people with COVID right now, or I mean, I doubt that there's definitely not less, but there could be way more people with COVID. It's just a matter of testing. How many people are getting tested? And like, obviously the amount of testing is directly correlated with this new spike of cases that we're seeing right now, just because by a factor of more people getting tested, more people will test positive. So, I mean, that is a big factor, but still, the numbers are the numbers, and they're high. They're super high, and it's nuts. All right, so, and then just only 2 U.S. states are reopening, are reporting a decline in new coronavirus cases. So I don't like those odds, 2 out of 50. That is terrible odds. So every other state is seeing a rising in COVID right now, which sucks again. But we will call it there. You guys get the idea. Let's jump into some of these charts. Okay, so again, we will talk about Riot and stuff too, because I know a lot of you guys want to know about that. So we will touch on that later. But again, let's cover these guys first. Yeah, again, these guys had a weird day on Friday, kicked off the morning really red. Yeah, this is on a weekly chart. That's a good-looking weekly chart right there. Let's go to the hourly. So again, I mean, Inovio's still looking great. Like, this is obviously still in a very bullish, like, this is still obviously in an upward trend. Just looking at it, you don't need to look at almost any technical analysis, which I'm not gonna, you guys. I'm just gonna kind of reiterate on my points I made on Friday. Inovio, like, still obviously in an uptrend, still above the 20 EMA, which is, I don't talk about the EMAs that much on this channel. I just kind of have them there. I've always had them there, and I always subconsciously use them, but sorry, you guys, I don't, like, vocalize my thoughts on the EMAs. So EMAs, exponential moving averages, it's just a good, it's kind of like a naturally drawn, not a naturally drawn trend line, but a pre-drawn trend line, that is determined as a technical indicator. Okay, so EMA 21 EMA on the hourly. It is still on top of that, which makes sense. It did use this as kind of a point of support on this single red candle right here. Kind of used it again as we're closing out on Friday, but this looks like it could pose a decent line of support on this bullish trend. So we'll just keep an eye on that. But you guys, again, like, the fundamentals are heavily driving my thoughts on all of these stocks. And again, technicals are just playing a very secondary role in my eyes. All right, so Inovio, looking all right. Novavax is going to be the interesting one, because you guys remember, again, I did draw this head and shoulders pattern, and this is a pretty textbook head and shoulders. So I would bet, again, I do still hold a decent amount of my Novavax position, but I did sell a decent amount on Friday as well, because I do expect this head and shoulders to play out. Again, you guys, never be afraid if you have a hunch that something might fall. Never be afraid to reduce your position. If it happens to go up, great. You still take a win. Obviously, it's not going to be as great as it could have been if you held your entire position. But if it does fall, you feel like you made the responsible move. Okay, so always make the responsible plays. Just keep a little bit on the table if you do have that hunch that it might go up. But if you have a hunch it'll go down, never be afraid to shave some off of your position. All right, so I do expect Novavax to follow this pattern. Again, as these stocks blow up, more traders enter the market. Technicals do realistically become more and more relevant as traders enter the market, as day traders enter the market, and quants and stuff enter the market, because that is how they trade. It's based on technicals. All right, so keep that in mind. I do expect Novavax to see maybe like a 10% pullback. But again, the fundamental momentum behind all these stocks is still so powerful. Like when you look at this, it's still obviously in an uptrend. That is like a textbook head and shoulders. So I think this will probably play out. It'll retest the $70 area, $69, $70 area, and then continue to move back up. I will say again, I'm a perma bull on all of these stocks until we establish a conclusive and effective vaccine. All right, so perma bull on all these stocks, like I'm a perma bear on all travel stocks. Pretty much a general equity markets. Not obviously some sectors like telecom and chip makers, semiconductors, whatnot. I'm bullish on certain sectors, but for the most part, bearish on the equity markets. Very bullish on this biotech sector. All right, so Novavax again, pullback. Still going to continue an uptrend in my mind, like over the midterm. Short term might see a very quick pullback, but I do think with all the fundamental reasons that we talked about so much, that Novavax will continue to go up over the mid to long term. Moderna is, and you guys, I'm not really touching on any specific news stories in regard to these guys. I know Inovio is releasing some news early this week, so we will keep an eye on that. I will make a stock talk for sure, either on Monday or Tuesday, and just keep you guys posted, because again, this is going to be a very exciting week in regard to these stocks. So I will keep you guys, trust me, you guys, this is a very exciting time. So I will pump out as much content as I can in regard to this sector. All right, so Moderna again, still following this. Like this is like just a bullish looking chart in my mind. Although it is going sideways. It hasn't seen obviously as much gains as Novavax and Sorrento. Bigger company at this point. Again, Moderna sitting at a $25 billion market cap. Inovio and Novavax both now at about a $4 billion market cap. So it's funny, you can think that both of these can like 6x. Like if both of these were to 6x right now in price, they'd be the same size as Moderna. So that is what makes me more bullish on Inovio and Novavax as far as an investment. But when it comes to realistically producing a vaccine, I mean, Moderna's had so much positive momentum and so much tangible good news behind it. Like they're the furthest in terms of clinical testing and whatnot. So I'm bullish on Moderna fundamentally and technically as well. Like again, they've been dancing on this line of support super well over the past week or so, and I said it tens of times before, I'll say it again. I think it could easily get back up to the $75 region. Best case scenario, up hits $100. Just nice psychological even if we really do see a rally. And again, if the general markets do see a pullback, I would not be surprised at all if a lot of this retail money, a lot of this new money, we'll see the shiny objects, which I do believe to be these stocks, will flood out of equity markets and a lot of other sectors and flood into this sector. And obviously if that much retail, if that much just capital flows into the sector, this still isn't like these three combined, which are the three major players, is only like a 30 or like a 35, $40 billion market cap. Okay, so that's, I mean, even a $40 billion market cap is a fairly small market cap, and that's all three of these combined. Okay, so it wouldn't take much money to completely pump this sector. And again, I do think these are the save the world stocks right now. So much attention being put on COVID because cases are just staggering. So yeah, I'm just very bullish on this Sorrento. Again, I thought Sorrento, great buying opportunity on Friday. This head and shoulders didn't really play out, but again, just looking at that, you see this huge spike up, and then we got a correction back down. Or no, sorry. Let's zoom in way more here. I was like, wait, that isn't quite right. Okay, so Sorrento is a wild. So again, you saw this crazy gap up on the 24th earlier last week, immediately corrected back down to where it started prior to this past week at. So great buying opportunity. I did add on to my Sorrento position. And again, Sorrento is good just because it allows you to hedge within the sector. Always do that, you guys. Like, I mean, Tesla, Nikola, NIO, that's kind of a good example as well. Like, if you're bullish on the EV sector, it doesn't hurt to have other players within that sector as well. Okay, so again, that's why we have Inovio, Novavax, and Moderna. If one of these comes out successful, obviously the other ones will likely tank, and that one will just go to the moon. So always like hedge yourself, even with obviously with competitors in such a competitive space like this, but always just hedge. And then Sorrento is a treatment as opposed to a vaccine, so it is a more short-term solution to this pandemic, as opposed to one of these, which realistically the vaccine will probably come faster than any other vaccine has come in history, but it's still rightfully so will take some time. Okay, so Sorrento, they're working on a treatment that is that can be applied very, very shortly. All right, so we'll call it there, you guys, as far as these are concerned. Again, we will make more stock talks on these early this week. Hopefully we see some exciting price action. My money's on it. Always know that, you guys. So we will keep an eye on these, and I'm excited to just ride this out with you guys. All right, so that said, we're going to move on to Bitcoin. Again, I'm sorry if you guys aren't interested in this. I love this sector. I've never been more bullish on Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency sector as a whole right now, with all the macroeconomic just events playing out. So we're going to touch on this. If you guys want to peace out, peace out. But Bitcoin. All right, so just from a very, very like bird's eye view technical, Bitcoin, this is not even tech. This is almost like fundamental technicals. Bitcoin is in an obvious bull rally, okay? And we will take a look at a few other charts later, but if you see this, you guys, like Bitcoin was birthed back in 2010. The chart started in 2011, but you can see Bitcoin was out, like, it was realistic. It started at cents. It was in the cents region back in 2010. And it's just crazy after like so much people talk shit about Bitcoin, but the fact that it's still at $9,100 obviously stabilized it. There's so much institutional interest coming into Bitcoin, huge players, whales coming into Bitcoin, wanting it part of their hedge funds, wanting it part of, again, they're institutional players. There's institutional money coming into Bitcoin. Very bullish right now. Again, Bitcoin, in my mind, digital gold. It is a scarce asset with a finite cap on it. There will only be 21 million Bitcoin that ever exist in the history of our world, and as long as digital is around, which obviously everything is trending digital, literally everything is trending digital right now. It just makes more sense that Bitcoin will outperform gold in my mind, just because gold is obviously gold, proven store of value. I still am bullish on gold. I do hold some gold miners, but Bitcoin it makes so much sense to me, just practically and rationally. Okay, so a big thing technically Bitcoin did since its $20,000 high in 2017, it has started this downtrend, and in my eyes, it did technically break this downtrend already, or very recently broke this. Sorry about that. Did break this downtrend. Okay, so you can see here back in early May, it kind of broke this downtrend. I know, you guys, if you want to, you could kind of make this like that if you really want to use like the absolute high right here, and it's still following that trend. I don't like drawing trend lines like that, but I mean, obviously some traders are following that because that's acting as this line of resistance right here. So you could make the argument that this is the trend line that is playing, but I think it's more realistically like this. Again, that's a way more fair trend line, and I personally see Bitcoin, if it does correct back down, to not go back down all that much. Like, I can see it correcting off this. It does fall in line with that with my 20 EMA right here too. 20 and 50 EMA are actually all around the same area as this, so it definitely makes sense for Bitcoin from a price perspective. Don't worry, like I almost didn't even want to rant on price just now. I want to focus on the fundamentals, because the fundamentals in my mind drive Bitcoin on the medium to long term. The short term is driven by traders, you guys, so you have to remember that. Bitcoin is definitely a traded asset, a highly traded asset with a lot of volume. But again, I'm holding Bitcoin with absolutely strong hands, strongest hands of any of my positions. This Riot, anything associated with this sector. And again, you guys, governments are printing trillions of dollars in fiat currency. Like, currencies are being debased around the world. If you do live in the US, you're blessed. You have the luxury of not knowing what it's like to have your currency debased. But places like Venezuela, there's so many other countries that are like third world countries that their currency literally loses all of its value. Okay, and that's where I see the real opportunity in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is an international asset. Bitcoin is digital gold, like I said. Like, it's international, it's borderless. And as long as you have access to the internet, you have access to Bitcoin, and you have access to a stable currency and a stable asset that can grow in wealth. All right, so again, the macroeconomic, like not just US, the global macroeconomic backdrop right now makes me so bullish on Bitcoin. The technicals look decent. Like, I am worried that a lot of people think that Bitcoin lost its non-correlation. So correlation within markets means that, like, Bitcoin has traditionally been, up until March, uncorrelated. March right here has traditionally been uncorrelated with assets like the S&P 500, the Dow, even gold and stuff. But during March, you guys have to understand that was a liquidity crisis. And I did make a video about that a long time ago when this first happened, that this was a liquidity crisis, okay? So that means every investor sold every asset they had because they were scared. There was like fear levels at an absolute high, a gauge of 100, probably like a 99 level on the fear gauge, and everyone sold everything they had. Like even in 2008, if you look back in the charts of 2008, gold, which was viewed, this is even before Bitcoin, so gold was viewed as the ultimate, almost sole safe haven asset, and gold dropped 30% in 2008. Okay, so during a liquidity crisis, literally everything sells off, aside from some of our biotech stocks, but literally everything sells off. Okay, so this was a black swan event. This almost cannot be referenced in terms of correlation, but you're seeing now the S&P and Bitcoin is becoming slightly correlated. That's why next week is going to be a very telling week in my mind to see if the markets go down and if Bitcoin is able to either stay stable. If the market's full and Bitcoin goes sideways still, that's very bullish in my mind, or that's bullish. If the markets fall and Bitcoin happens to go up, that's extremely bullish, like all chips on the table, all in at that point. Not literally, but like psychologically all in at that point. Okay, so very bullish on Bitcoin. I'm gonna stop ranting on the charts right now. Let's look at some articles, okay, and I'll just kind of rant on these as well. Perfect storm can push Bitcoin market over $1 trillion. It's a Forbes article. Bitcoin traders and investors have long predicted the established financial services industry's eventual jump into cryptocurrency. Wall Street's highly anticipated institutional support for Bitcoin has so far failed to convincingly materialize. The recent moves from some of the world's biggest banks suggest it's coming, slowly but surely. Remember, you guys, this is a long game, especially with Bitcoin. It's like short, Bitcoin is such a young asset at only 10 years old, but it's still so young and there's so much time ahead of it. All right, now following hedge fund manager Paul Tudor Jones' recent foray into Bitcoin, researchers have found an aggregate 1% institutional allocation to Bitcoin can easily bring Bitcoin's total value above $1 trillion with a perfect storm, potentially making each Bitcoin token worth over $50,000, from just under $10,000 currently. Okay, so $50,000, again, a $1 trillion market cap in the grand scheme of the financial markets is a drop in the bucket, you guys. Like, we just printed $6 trillion in the past couple of months, just in the US alone. All right, $1 trillion would take each individual Bitcoin at this moment to $50,000 per coin. So again, you guys, it's important to understand that Bitcoin it's at like a $200 billion market cap right now. That is pennies in regard to the greater financial markets and the grand scheme of finance and money. Okay, so keep that in mind. Well, we'll just read these two other little parts. Institutional investors are white whales of cryptocurrency. Depending on your assumptions, an aggregate 1% institutional allocation can easily bring Bitcoin's market cap to above $1 trillion. Ever so elusive, institutional investment in cryptocurrency has long been considered the most significant barrier between Bitcoin and multi-trillion-dollar market capitalization. Okay, so if you have seen my Bitcoin videos in the past, you know that Paul Tudor Jones, who's one of the titans, like the OG's Mount Rushmore style of investing, of institutional investing. Okay, and he recently came out a month or so ago talking about how he thinks Bitcoin is the fastest horse in the race in regards to hedging assets. So again, he's kind of relating Bitcoin to gold, but he pretty much said that Bitcoin will significantly outperform gold. And I 100% agree with that. Gold is great. Again, gold is a good store of value. It's just an old asset. So there's less room for growth. There's less growth potential. Bitcoin is 10 years old. There's so much room for growth. It's a tiny asset. It's a fraction. The market cap of Bitcoin, again, $200 billion, is a fraction of gold's multi-trillion dollar market cap. All right, so just keep that in mind, you guys. We'll look at this real quick. New Bitcoin model suggests exponential bull run in 1 month. Always remember, you guys, these are bullish articles. You can find plenty of bearish articles and a bunch of charts, technical analysis, whatnot, that say that Bitcoin is crashing down to $1, whatnot. Not literally, but, like a bunch of FUD, a bunch of bears. There's always the bull-bear market argument in every market. So keep that in mind. I'm personally bullish, and this is what I believe and what I will choose to share. Okay, so will a BTC bull market begin in July? I'm just going to kind of read a bunch of these. I want to primarily show you the charts. So this is a model that Willy Woo, who's been in the Bitcoin game for a long time. He's a trader, one of the most kind of reputable traders in the Bitcoin landscape, I would say. Willy Woo has been around forever. I like his work. He's a cool dude, chill, rational, in my opinion at least. So this is his chart, okay? And this is a better look at Bitcoin on an actual scale. Like when we look at it on TradingView, you guys can see even as we zoom out, like it's hard to tell like back here what it looked like, but this is a way better kind of visualization of what Bitcoin looked like the actual growth of Bitcoin looks like. Okay, so when you look at this, it's hard to not say that this is in a bull market. Like, this is obviously, even after Bitcoin's dips, ups and downs, Bitcoin's a highly volatile asset. Even after these ups and downs, Bitcoin, just looking at this, is still in a very obvious bull market, okay? So I'm not actually sure what this exact indicator is. I'm assuming it's some sort of moving average. I can't see that. I tried zooming into it and I just can't read it. So I'm sorry about that. But this is pretty much what this is a chart that he uses with this whatever moving average thing this is, and it has somewhat successfully dictated the beginnings of bull markets. Okay, so as you can see here, these green bars is when this upward, this is obviously trending upward. I'm pretty positive this is a moving average, but when the moving average goes to test this line of support down on this lower line, that is the beginning of usually a bull market. Okay, so you can see way back here, the first time it tested this line of support, you saw a significant move up. It went sideways and then it moved up, or actually moved up, definitely came back down, capitulated. Then right as it tested this line of support again, is when you saw that first extreme bull market in Bitcoin, where it went to a few $100s at the time. Okay, and then you get to over here, which was prior to 2017. Okay, so this was in 2016. It went almost perfectly tested this line of support at the bottom. You could make the argument that it almost could have happened here and here, happened here, and then we saw the 2017 rally to $20,000. Okay, so obviously the infamous $20,000 Bitcoin in 2017. We crashed back down, went back to test it in what was that, like 2019. So we saw that rally in 2019 again, came back down. We had the Block Swan event right now, and then right now, I wish I could zoom in on this more, but I can't. We are almost exactly on that line of support, on this whatever moving average kind of thing it is. Okay, so this is just kind of a general technical analysis. Again, Willy Woo, I'm more basing this, the reason I'm bringing this up, on the fact that I've followed Willy Woo for a long time and I find him a very reputable individual. So sorry I didn't explain that very well, but if he thinks this is bullish, that is bullish in my mind, because he's never been one to shy away from the bear argument. Okay, I've heard him make a lot of bearish arguments and a lot of bearish calls. So he is, for the most part, unbiased. Again, he's a trader, so when you're a trader, you can make money on the falls as well. So it is bullish in my mind coming from him. All right, additional factors point to a bull run. Again, this is another little chart, very standard, hiring lows and higher lows, higher highs since we saw that liquidity crisis and crash, 50% crash back in March. Again, higher lows, higher highs. You could say the same thing about the relief rally in the general equity markets, in the S&P and the Dow, whatnot. So that is, I mean, it's just going to be really interesting to see. Like, the main thing I want to see right now is whether Bitcoin can break correlation to general equity markets. So that is by far the biggest hurdle that Bitcoin has to cross in my mind. Again, if we do see the general equity markets fall over the coming weeks and Bitcoin either go sideways or go up, very bullish. If we see the S&P, the Dow, the Nasdaq fall 2% and then Bitcoin falls 2% as well, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday going into this week, that will sketch me out, and then I will have to kind of reevaluate my position. I will give this time just because, again, I'm so fundamentally bullish on this sector, and a lot of my positions are long-term, like my grayscale position, which I will make a video on, I promise you guys. I'm just waiting for the right time. I don't want to make a video about it and then have it tank, because that does matter. Timing does matter significantly, to me at least. So I will drop that, you guys don't worry, but if you are interested, obviously, but I'm just waiting for the right time. But I have so many articles I want to show you guys, and I'm looking forward to that video for sure. Like, Grayscale Bitcoin is my single largest stock position. Okay, I'm extremely bullish on Grayscale. Riot is one of my largest call option positions. Extremely bullish on Riot, but these are all very long-term positions. Even my calls, very long-term. So I'm so bullish on this sector, you guys. And again, with the current macroeconomic backdrop, just everything going on in the world is a wild place right now. And again, there's doubt in government. There's trillions of dollars of fiat currency being printed. Bitcoin is such an obvious solution, as far as at least a store of value in my mind. If you want to keep some of your wealth safe, in the case that the worst comes to worst, I'm a very optimistic person naturally, and I don't think any currency, or I definitely don't think the U.S. dollar will fail. But sadly, I think a lot of international currencies could potentially fail as they print them, just because the U.S. dollar might become stronger. So again, I don't think the U.S. dollar is going to fail by any means. I do actually think the U.S. dollar, although we're printing trillions, it is kind of counterintuitive. I do think the US dollar, because it is a global reserve currency, will actually become stronger because a lot of these other nations, while they print, just have nothing to back it with, okay? So, again, we're living in crazy times economically, just psychologically, everything right now. So you guys just do your best to stay rational, stay mindful of everything. Keep an eye on every market, not just the markets you're trading. Keep an eye on the macro picture. Always keep the fundamentals in mind. Again, even if you are day trading and whatnot, you need to just keep everything is correlated. The earth, everyone, is a one big ecosystem. All right. So that wasn't said very eloquently, but you guys get the point. Okay. So just always keep everything in your field of view. All right. We'll call it there, you guys, as far as that's concerned. Ended off with content of the week. This is probably Anthony Pompliano is one of my favorite voices in the space. He's one of the guys who encouraged me to start making YouTube videos, just because he's such a relatable guy to me personally. Again, super easy to listen to, super rational, super grounded. He comes from a Bitcoin background, but now he just focuses on the entire financial industry as a whole. It's crazy, the guest and the people he's friends with, for being a younger dude, like mid-30s guy. Like, he is so well connected. I respect him. But the specific piece of content I want to recommend to you guys is Lunch Money. So him and his girlfriend Paulina, over the course of quarantine, I'm honestly super surprised I haven't recommended this to you guys sooner. I'm sorry about that. But him and his girlfriend, fiance Paulina, record a series called Lunch Money on every weekday, the morning of every weekday, where they just cover up-to-date news, global current events, whatnot. It's kind of like what I'm doing here, but a little more full spectrum. So they talk about business, just kind of even general stuff going on. But it's very fun, easy to watch. Each episode is about 20 minutes, so it's very digestible. Me and my lady watch it almost every morning. It's a good way to get her involved in some of the things I'm interested in. So if you guys do have a girlfriend that you want to try to educate in regard to finance, investing, whatnot, this is a great thing to watch that both of you can enjoy. So check this out. Again, you can just type in Anthony Pompliano, subscribe to this page. This podcast, titled with Douglas Bonaparte, or Bonaparte, I don't know. I think it's Bonaparte. Is that how you spell Bonaparte, like Napoleon Bonaparte? I don't know. Anyway, this was a great podcast. So either go on podcast and you can look at the Palm podcast, or just go on YouTube, which is probably easier because you're here already, and watch this, because this is a great podcast. Okay, this is a great interview, great conversation. All right, trust me when I say that. I don't want to completely explain it, but this is a great one. I listened to a lot of them. This one was significantly good, especially if you're newer to this game. Okay. So watch Lunch Money. Again, Pomp, this is a cool guy. He's one of the people who inspired me to start making videos, so go show him some love as well. And we will call it there, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching this Waves Weekly. Please let me know if there's anything you want me to touch on over specifically the beginning of this week. Obviously, the market's so wild right now. Things are changing on the drop of a dime. So just let me know what you guys want to see over the course of this week, all right? Let me know if you're interested in Bitcoin, anything we talked about at all. Didn't touch on Riot. You know what? Sorry about that. We will look at Riot real quick because I did promise that. Where is Riot? Oh, it's up top, of course. So Riot is actually, I already know this because I already looked at the chart not too long ago, but Riot is the chart's kind of hard to, this is a weird chart. This is a very weird chart right now. If Riot goes back below $2, that's bad. Straight up. It is set at it's technically in a downtrend right now, so oh my god. I just got this new mouse. Sorry guys, I usually use the touchpad, but I just got a new mouse, so that's why I'm messing up a lot of these clicks. Don't worry, I'll get used to it. So it's Riot is setting a downtrend, very obviously, and it's so dependent on Bitcoin. That's kind of all I have to say about Riot. The technicals are weird right now. Volume is falling off. RSI and stochastic RSI are low, but that's not always a good thing. It does mean that it could see another bounce up. But as far as the medium to long term, very bullish on Riot. Short to medium term is, I don't know. It's very dependent on how Bitcoin performs. And again, even Riot and Bitcoin aren't directly correlated. Riot is also pretty correlated with equity markets as well. But this is very dependent on the performance of Bitcoin as an asset. So let's hope that Bitcoin does well. Again, you guys, if you are interested in Riot, you have to definitely be interested in cryptocurrency, Ether, Chainlink. Chainlink has, excuse me, Chainlink actually signed a deal with China recently and China has adopted them as their Oracle solution for blockchain. Okay, so you guys, let me know if you're interested in that. I know the majority of people here, if you're still watching, do watch for stocks like Inovio, like hot stocks and more trading, equity trading content. But like crypto is my first love. Like that's how I started in investing and trading. So again, there's very exciting things happening in blockchain, in crypto. Link is one of my favorite positions personally. So let me know if you guys want me to touch on that more. And yeah, we'll call it there, guys. I'll stop rambling, getting a little long-winded and getting a little out of it. So we will call it there, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching. Please drop a comment. Always love talking shop with you guys. Always love learning from you guys. Looking forward to this week for sure. Like, this is going to be an exciting week. It's crazy times, and I'm just super happy to have you guys here with me. I truly do appreciate you guys, and I just realized I didn't ask you guys to give the video a like or subscribe if you're new. So if you happen to still be around, please give the video a like and subscribe if you're new. You're probably not around if you're new anymore, but that's all right. Love you guys. I'll catch you guys next time. Until then, take action, make waves. Peace.